All right, all right, all right. What a beautiful day. What moments to connect back again wherever you are listening or you're watching. Once again, welcome to Marriage and Psychology. And as I promised last 2 weeks, that for the next 8 weeks, I'll be talking about peace making. Are you a peacemaker? That's a question. Or how can you be a peacemaker is another question that we need to ask ourselves. And so to have peace or to make peace or to be at peace is something that is so expensive. It's something that is so delicate and so important in every person's life, and for a relationship to whether you call it endure or to last, definitely there's always need for peace, because absence of peace create a lot of problem that we kind of um, go into tension, we go into relapse, we go into all kinds of stresses that we can think of, in life. But since we are more, focusing on um, piece that has to do with our relationship in the home. And I told you guys I'm borrowing from one of these wonderful guys that have written so well and written so much, about, relationship, you know, Ken Sunday, who really is so concerned about our relationship. So and that's why I feel that yes, because as we said, for us to understand ourselves better as husband and wife, we need it in a way to see that yes, we connect well with our spouses, and we try to create, to avoid or throw off anything that can cause us, cause either you call it strife or misunderstanding that would take out the peace. So always we need to pay attention to that. We always want to pay attention to that. Anything that would take take our peace from us, we want to pay attention. So last week we talked about the slippery slope of peacemaking, the slippery slope of peacemaking, the way we handle, our conflicts or any misunderstanding. We see that yes, the 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 nuances of handling conflict is always trying to be that I want to defend myself. I want to fight for my cause. I want to, go for what is mine. It's mine. As James would say, what really brings or causes or really it's the source of our fight and quarreling. He says he's not far from us. We don't have to go anywhere to begin to dig. We don't need lawyers to interpret. We don't need, psychologists to kind of tell us. But it's from our interest, selfish interest, from our hearts, you know, because I want this thing that I've desired for. I want this thing that I'm demanding for. So now we have many ways. So now because something somehow happened between you and your spouse. Now the way sometimes we do, we try to escape or try to attack or to reconcile. And we said, of course, if you go by escape, meaning you may end up in depression and you begin to think about suicide, begin to, run into flight, begin to, in a way, live in denial. And if it's attacking, of course, because attacking has to do with confrontation. You want to have a negative confrontation. So now, you want to resort to assault. You want to probably think about litigation. You want to think about probably killing that person. That's murder. So, but That's not, we said, the two are not the best way, are not even the best, are not even good at all. But you always want to come to the middle where you want to reconcile. Because when you reconcile with someone, then definitely you would want to see that person again. But when there's no reconciliation, or reconciliation has not really taken place, then definitely, how rat and cat, don't want to see each other in a place. So that's what we do. I see you coming, I go the other way. You see me coming, you go the other way. Because why? We have not come together to say, hey guy, I'm sorry. Oh, I didn't know that this is how you felt. Or you know what? Probably it's my fault. So something like that. But we needed to kind of, in a way, um, um, think about reconciliation instead of escaping or attacking, but rather peacemaking. As a peacemaker, you always want to go for reconciliation. So now that's slippery slope of peacemaking. But today the question is peace? Is conflict beneficial? Is conflict beneficial? Now, because if we know that when there's differences in whatever form, then we want to call for, to bring back that, to resolve, right? So, but if it is called conflict, which means differences, which means, a way of value, someone's value has been really kind of tampered with. So the question is there something that we can learn out of it? Is there anything that this conflict can produce as an opportunity? Well, if we look at it from the perspective of the world mindset, or from the perspective of circular thinking, we might say no. But when we come back to biblical understanding of what conflict is, you would agree with me that yes, conflict will always provide an opportunity. So there are opportunities that conflict do provide. But if you are thinking from a biblical perspective. If you're thinking from a biblical perspective, then definitely you know that yes, conflicts provide opportunity. And of course, that's what we want to look at it today from a biblical perspective. But here is a question. What is one way that you tried to remember to attack or to act or to do something? If you call yourself a Christian, like a Christian or as a Christian, would you be able to remember some time that you tried to kind of act like a Christian during a conflict? If I should kind of respond to this, I'm going to spend the whole of the time that we have giving you instances that I found myself in a situation whereby, I needed to defend myself, but I give it up. I gave it up because, I was not counting on myself, but I was counting on whom I'm really depending on. Because I'm not depending on myself, but I'm depending on the person who says vengeance is his. So, but I allowed that very particular moment for opportunities for my belief, to stand against any, for my belief to be well, respected, for my belief to be well, accepted, just because of the way I presented myself in that moment. I denied myself, what I supposed to say my right. I denied myself just so that God will be honored at that moment. And of course, that's what I want us to look at. And so there are three opportunities in conflict. Three. Three opportunities that a conflict can provide. So number one opportunity, of course, as we live our life, we want to honor God. We want to honor Him. So as husband and wife, remember, when you come together, it is not about, like I said earlier, it is not about me. It's not about you as my wife, but it's about God, who is supposed to honor in our relationship in the home. So if it's about God, then definitely, if there's any misunderstanding, what's supposed to come to my mind is, how can I act? How should I behave to what? To make me trust in God, or to make us, both of us, trust in God. Meaning, conflicts provide an opportunity for someone to trust in God. But it depends on how you handle it. Because the way you handle it will determine how that person, or how you yourself, will see God in it. And of course, if you read, because Proverbs, 3, Proverbs 3, 5 to 7. I know I don't want to take my time to be reading this passage, but if you have a pen, you can, do yourself, good to kind of be writing them. Proverbs 3, 5 to 7. I might only read this one, but the rest of it, I will just be saying them. So Proverbs 3. Trust in the Lord with all your hearts, and do not lean on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge Him, and He will make straight your path. Be not wise in your own eyes. Fear the Lord, and turn away from evil. Now, sometimes when something happens, you think as if you're being so timid, or you're afraid, or they're thinking, well, I know he cannot handle that. He's afraid. No, but that person is trying to say, no, God, help me in this situation. See, now it helped me to trust in God at this very particular moment. So that's why when there's a situation in the home, what you want to do, or in a relationship, maybe between you and your friend, or all you want to do, you want to trust in God, because He will make a way out for you. And number two, of course, conflict provide an opportunity for you to obey God. If you look at John 15, verse 8, it makes you to obey God. Another thing that a conflict will provide the opportunity for is an opportunity to imitate God. Now, let me say something about this one, to imitate God. Now, you know that definitely all of us, as we live our life, we are not living our life for ourselves, but we're living to honor, to glorify God, because that's our ultimate goal. The ultimate goal for every being, every living being, is to glorify God. So now, here is the question. How do I imitate God? Because when some people say, well, He is God. He has the power. He is omnipotent. He is omnipresent. He is omniscient. And so He doesn't need that. Of course. But guess what? Jesus was mishandled the way we would handle or mishandle some people. But God, who is God, when He was, after all that they did, the worst thing was to hang Him on a tree. And at that moment, he says, Father, forgive them. Father, forgive them. So now tell me, because, oh no, you know what? You are just saying this. You don't understand. She did this. He did this. Do you know how I feel about, do you know what? I know it is not, it's not easy. I know it is not, it is tough. Of course it is tough, but guess what? If you imitate God, God still being God is still God. That has never reduced him from being who God is. That has not taken anything out of his glory. No. It only added and given you and I an evidence, the proof of what he says about himself. So that's what I want you to kind of know, that, when we think about ourselves, whatever we think about ourselves, to be, are we in that position? Are we in God's, position? Are we in God's, can we rate ourselves? Can we compare? Can we even? No. But if God would still our folly, our wickedness, our stupidity, but yet you will say that, yeah, Father, forgive them. So I see no reason why, when you have a little quarrel, misunderstanding in the home, and the next thing is you want to attack or you want to escape, instead of coming together to sit and reconcile and understand, so that now God will be honored. It makes you to trust God the more, it makes you to obey him, and of course to imitate him, so that people see in your life. And of course, the third, and I mean, another thing is, to acknowledge him. It makes us to acknowledge God in our conflict. So now the question is, when it comes to, because the opportunity, I always look, I'm only looking for an opportunity that I can strike. And that's why, where most especially, I talked about vindictiveness. That's where, husband and wife, we want to now, she did this to me, I know what I'm going to do. And you target her, you kind of look for this opportunity, and, you strike hard because you felt it, because for you it's about feelings. But we will talk about it. We'll talk about it later, because we'll talk about forgiveness, because forgiveness is not about feelings. It's not a feeling. We'll talk about that. Because most of the time we want to say, well, you know how I'm feeling about this. Well, because you are the one that is feeling the pains now. You are the one that is carrying the pains now. I don't know, but one thing that I know is God wants us to be peacemakers. I want us to be peacemakers. Because it's clear. He said in his word, of course, for you to be his child, to be called his child, his son or his daughter, you have to be a peacemaker. That's what Matthew 5, 9 says. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called sons or children or daughter of God. So that's, what I want to just know about that. It is not, don't think as if, well, you're doing this, to just, to kill yourself. By the way, the scripture says that for you to gain your life, you have to lose it. You have to lose it for you to gain your life, to save your life. You have to lose it. So these are some of the moments in life that we can lose our lives. When we know that, yes, we can afford, this, but we decide to say, you know what? No, I can give it up. I can give it up. So, now the same under, opportunities that conflict can provide, because we look at, listen, the three that I said, the three opportunities, number one is to glorify God. And under glorifying God, we see that, yes, to trust, obey, imitate, and of course, acknowledge God. But Of course, the second thing is that yes, conflicts provide an opportunity for us to serve others. I know you're going to ask me, but you can go ahead and make your comment. You're going to ask me, how can conflict, misunderstanding make me to kind of serve someone? How? Well, if conflict is handled well, definitely it will help an opponent to find a better solution. It will help, like now, most of the time when you are offended, right? Well, yes, he offends me, so he better come and come to me. But I know that, yes, for some of you that read the Bible, Paul would say, as long as it depends on you, not depends on that person, but you, make peace with everyone. So in essence, conflict will now provide an opportunity to serve others. One, if you handle this conflict well, it will help your opponent. It is going to help your spouse to find a better solution. So when you have a misunderstanding in the home, the next thing you want to kind of begin to no. Remember, we said know your wife's psychology, know your husband's psychology. Knowing that was not for you to take advantage of him or her. No. It's for you to find a better way of handling things, a better way of relating to that person. So that's why now, like, instead of now to see it as negative, but see it as positive in this, at the moment, because it will help your spouse to find a better solution. Of course, it will, of course, in a way, help your spouse to, or help you to carry your spouse's burdens. I know we don't want to do that, but the question is, am I my brother's keeper? That's how someone asked in the Bible. He said, "Is he his brother's keeper?" But of course, we are our brother's keepers. I am my wife's keeper. She is mine. So definitely, I want to treat her as someone that, yes, I want her to definitely be valued, be respected, be the same thing, like as I want her to do for me. So of course, it helps us to carry our spouse's burden. Of course, it helps others and your opponent to find where they've been wronged. If conflict is handled properly, in a good way, that person that you think he is bad or it will help that person to see a way of finding where they have wronged you. But if you go on attacking or escaping, the person will not understand, will not really get it. He will not really see what you are up to. And of course, it provides an opportunity to trust in Christ. It will equally, provide an opportunity, as we serving to serve others, to encourage to encourage our spouses by our example, by living example, because you did this to him or to her. She said, well, it's okay. You still do it again. You still do it again. You still do it again. Because of the way you presented yourself, because of the way you behaved yourself, you change the cognitive of the person, because that person's cognitive, in his own cognitive, already the belief he has, the way he was processing his thoughts, now is changed. Now is going to be changed by your behavior, because you're thinking, you are processing well in your cognition. you're processing well. That is why it has affected your behavior. So your behavior is now seen. Now, as your spouse sees your behavior, now it's going to change the thinking process of her or of him to kind of begin to say, oh, well, I think she is right, or I think he is right. See, now the person is not going to now follow by your example. That's what conflicts provide to serve others. And of course, the last part, 3 opportunities that conflict can provide, the last set of 3, conflicts, makes us to grow to be like Christ. It makes us to grow to be like Christ. So, of course, we'll be grace dependent, according to 2 Corinthians 12, 8-9. We will be obedience, according to Psalms 119, verse 67. And of course, we will be, in our own new man, we'll grow in our own new man. Because remember, when you have repented, when now you are new in Christ, so now you don't want to be stagnant, you want to grow. So of course, to growing to be like Christ, that conflict will now make us to continue to, to grow in our new man. And of course, 2 Corinthians 5:17, talked about that. So listen, last year we were talking about the slippery slope. Today we're saying now you don't go by escape, you don't go by attacking, but you reconcile. Today we are saying, hey, listen, conflicts are bound to happen, and we can never, I repeat it, we will never cease to have conflict. We have conflict within ourselves. Individual, we all have conflict within ourselves. Talk more of someone, talk more of, so now don't say that no, or, like I would ask, when it comes to that, because Professor Corey taught me that when I went to him for premarital counseling, the first thing he asked us was, hey guy, have you guys ever fought? Have you ever had any differences and you struggle, but in the end we said no. He said, well, I don't want to see you guys. I don't want to see you guys. So that's why, conflict is always there. Don't think it's inevitable. If we can have problem with ourselves, then what more with someone that you marry, maybe from your own culture, from your own climate, from your own environment, from your own country, but talk more of marrying from another country, from a different color, from a different, all of this. You think there's not going to be conflict? There'll always be conflict. Conflict of interest, conflict of opportunities, conflict of or desires, conflict, all sort of conflict as spouses, we always have it. But remember, you take advantage of it. Make use of that very time that you guys are having differences. Make her or make him believe or trust in whom you're trusting because of the way you handle the situation. Make you obey, and of course, to imitate the person that really, has been there for you too. And remember, if truly you want to live for one another, see conflict to be a way, an opportunity to serve someone. Serving is something that, is tough, but for you to be a leader, you have to serve. For you to be a good team member, you have to serve. For you to be someone, a unit, you have to be, you have to serve. So conflict helps us to serve others, help us to serve one another. So see conflict in that perspective. So I just want to do this so that, because I'm going to get to a point where I know it's going to be tough. Some of you would say, no, I don't believe that. But you don't have to believe me. You don't have to agree with me. You don't have to, one thing I know, that the only, way we can be peacemakers or make peace is for us to not look at someone, but look at ourselves. Until we stop, blaming others, but search and look deep down within us to say, hey, am I doing it right? So that's what I'm saying, because I said, normally we have our belief and presuppositions, we have how we, our worldview and whatever, which affects the way we behave, which affects the way we do things. So we would expect the other person to do things the way I am doing. It's well, the question is, are you doing something that is a standard? Are you doing something that is that is a general value, something that is generally accepted? If you're doing that, by the way you live will make someone to change his own worldview, change his own, mindset. That's the only way. But it's not by you imposing or forcing or fighting, confronting. No. It's by you living what you believe, living what you I mean, it's supposed to be, living a proper, living ideal, living a life that, of course, someone will see and envy that way in a positive way, not in a negative way. So I pray that, and I hope that this will help, some marriages out there, or those who are about to marry, to say that, hey, oh, we know that marriage is not always sweet. Marriage is we are bound to have conflict. So definitely, I just want to tell you that there are ways of, peacemaking, making peace, amongst us as married or intending, or as friends. We don't want to attack, we don't want to, escape, but we want to reconcile. Okay, and know that conflict provide opportunity. So I pray that God, help us. Well, thank you, Comfortila. Yeah, it's not about us. It's about all of us. It's not about just me, but it's about all of us. I don't always want to say it has to be me, I know. Even the other person. It's very, very important for you too. So thank you so much for your time. And I pray that we'll meet next and see where, what again we're going to talk about. But remember, we're talking about peacemaking. Are you a peacemaker? Do you have peace within yourself? Do people see you as someone that, oh, I like to see him around me? Do people see you as someone, well, as soon as you leave, people are kind of crying, oh man, we lose this guy. Oh man, I'm missing this guy. Oh man. Are you that type of person? If you're not, then you got to ask yourself, think about it. By the time we're done with this series of peacemaking, then probably that would help you to kind of change your worldview, your mindset, your life pattern or lifestyle. Thank you so much for your time. Have a wonderful weekend. I will see you next week. Bye bye.